But Smriti, you saw Sharad Pawar sitting there. You have Nitin Gadkari sitting to his right. We've been talking about Ajit Pawar being a straight shooter, but I want to understand from you what were the qualities that Ajit Pawar had that helped him step out of Sharad Pawar's shadow and establish himself as a tall leader within the NCP fold. Smriti, you'll have to unmute yourself.
Sorry. I think number one was his approachability.
For a moment, let's just talk about that visual on our screen. Smriti, just give me a moment. I'll come back to you. But there you had Sharad Pawar meeting with the Home Minister, Amit Shah, who's just landed in Baramati. He's just about to take his seat. Smriti, go ahead.
So as I was saying, I think it was his approachability where anybody seated in any kind of an audience could send a little slip written with some question, some observation up to Ajit Dada, their Ajit Dada Pawar, and know that it would be recognized. Ajit Pawar would refer to it and probably come back with a very acerbic one-liner, but that was acceptable to people. The second thing was that he positioned himself and called himself Kamacha Manus. That is, if you want to get work done, come to me. And that enabled him to reach many people who hesitated perhaps in reaching out to Mr. Sharad Pawar because of his stature, age, and so on. It helped that Ajit Pawar was much younger, also knew how the modern media worked, how modern communications worked. He was a better communicator with his one-liners and other things than Mr. Sharad Pawar, and that all of this helped him build a very deep personal connect. And as some of your colleagues have been saying since morning, these are people who know that they may not even get a glimpse of Ajit Pawar, but they have poured in from yesterday evening. Last night, the Vidya Pratishthan grounds were full, and Supriya had to appeal to them to go back home if they could and come back this morning. The last I remember seeing this was for Mr. Bal Thackeray in Bombay, Thane, of course, but as massively complete natural outpouring of grief for Mr. Vilas Rao Deshmukh of the Congress and Mr. Gopinath Munde of the BJP. And that tells us that there are politicians and then there are politicians. There are politicians who do the political work, who sign on files, who take oaths as ministers and chief ministers. And then some of them transcend that to become what we might best call a people's politician, someone that people knew they could reach out to, but importantly, who people knew that this man knows me, this man knows my family. He has the authority to maybe chide me, pull me up, that's fine, but he's my man there. And that connect, I find it increasingly on the decline in Maharashtra. And this I want to...
And this has been pointed out by our colleague Saurabh Gupta that there is nobody right now from the Congress High Command. This is quite curious. You know, you've got Amit Shah present over there. You've got both the Chief Minister, Deputy Chief Minister present over there. But while local leaders of the Congress are present, people like Vijay Wadattiwar are present, you've got Ritesh Deshmukh present over there. But does it seem a little curious to you, Sudhir Suryavanshi, that nobody from the Congress High Command, maybe Mr. Kharge, if not Rahul Gandhi, maybe Priyanka Gandhi, nobody has come, given that they have really old relations with Sharad Pawar, if not Ajit Pawar?
I think Maharashtra State Congress President Mr. Harshavardhan Sapkal is there as per my information. But as you rightly pointed out that there is no leader from the, Delhi big leader from the Congress High Command is present. Neither, Rahul Gandhi nor Priyanka Gandhi nor the Mallikarjun Kharge is there. I think it was expected that Mallikarjun, at least Kharge will be there, but he is not also there. I don't know exactly what are the reasons behind it, why they could not turn up for this, last rites or funeral of Mr. Ajit Pawar. Even actually, if you see that Mr. Sharad Pawar and the Gandhi family had a good relation, Mrs. Pawar and the Kharge had a good relation. I don't know what is the reason behind it, but
Saurabh
having
Gupta
said
on
that,
that as well. And like you pointed out, Saurabh, this really does stand out like a sore thumb. The fact that, at a time like this, at a time of bereavement, when such a difficult time for Sharad Pawar in particular, in the evening of his life, in the evening of his political career, you've got close relations between the Gandhi family and Sharad Pawar, and nobody here from the high command, from the Congress high command present today.
That's right. In fact, what we've seen is local level leaders, as my colleague Anuj was pointing out, Harshvardhan Sakpal, also we've seen Dheeraj Deshmukh and all of them. Vijay Vadetiwar, one of them. But, one expected that, given that the Congress and the NCP have been allies for so long, somebody from the High Command, and especially given that Sharad Pawar does share a rapport with the Congress High Command, especially Sonia Gandhi, there would have been someone to represent the Congress party from the national leadership. Cutting across party lines from Maharashtra, Uddhav Thackeray and everybody's come. But maybe not to the funeral, but at least to the home. But, again, the Congress's representation conspicuous by absence.
Yeah, conspicuous by its absence. In fact, another very curious reaction has come in from Sanjay Raut yesterday. He had said that people, have started taking a lot of chartered flights. People are in such a rush. Why do they go and, campaign for Zilla Parishad elections? Maybe that is the reason why we see accidents like this happening. And again today, despite the fact, Vedika, that yesterday Sharad Pawar himself had to come out and say there should be no conjecture, there should be no speculation about, foul play. Here is Sanjay Raut saying that following the unfortunate aircraft accident near Baramati, all requisite response and investigative mechanisms, that there needs to be a proper investigation. What happened in Ajit Pawar's case should be revealed to the public, despite the fact that Sharad Pawar has said that there should be no foul play or insinuation of foul play made in this case. He's saying, look, despite that, this wasn't the first time that Ajit Pawar was travelling by plane. Hence, everyone is having doubts. The DGCA should conduct a thorough investigation into the technical flaws and airport facilities. So the muddying of waters continues.
But despite the Civil Aviation Ministry also coming out and saying there will be an interrogation. There will be.
No, there is anyway, and wherever there is an air crash, irrespective of whether it involves a politician or not, there is an investigation. Here you've got somebody saying that, look, this man wasn't traveling in an airplane for the first time. These seem to be very curious circumstances. Hence, we should have an investigation, perhaps taking a cue from what Mamata Banerjee said yesterday. And here is where we are at. You had Nitin Raut of the Congress making the statement. You had Mamata Banerjee making such a statement. And today you have Sanjay Raut in a very tangential way also making such a suggestion. One wonders if this is the kind of politics that we have at this point. Smriti Kopikar, I believe, wants to make a point.
I think you've touched on a very, very important, extremely sensitive part of this entire story, Padmaja. And I want to point out that this says so much about the trust deficit that has crept into Maharashtra's politics in recent years. One much less hazardous part of that was Mr. Eknath Shinde squirreling away his new corporators in Bombay to Taj Lands End and keeping them there for many days, protecting them from being poached upon. That's a fairly relatively harmless kind of a trust deficit. But look at the trust deficit that in the face of such a monumental tragedy for the Pawars, for the government, for the party, within literally hours yesterday, there were conspiracy theories linking things that Mr. Ajit Pawar said earlier to this accident. There were, in fact, I saw videos right from noon yesterday detailing out why this was not an accident and could this be a conspiracy. And to me, it is just very heartbreaking that Maharashtra's politics is at such a low level of trust and camaraderie that they can be in power together, but they simply don't trust each other anymore to do the right thing.
Absolutely. For a moment, I want our viewers to also know that while we're focusing, of course, and we have this continuous coverage of the Antim rites, the final rites of the Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra, the mortal remains of flight attendant Pinky Mali will be reaching her home also very soon. Tragedy for 5 families, not just one, viewers. And we, of course, will bring you those visuals as well. It's a heartbreaking moment across the state, across the country at this point. Family members there on the elevated platform. You have the sons there of Ajit Pawar. You have the wife on stage. You have Supriya Sule. Ankit, if you're live with us at this point, just take us through what's happening. This is an emotional moment for all those family members on that elevated platform saying their final goodbyes as the final rites continue in Baramati.
That's right. In fact, Supriya Sule has quoted, Sunitra Pawar on the platform where she came to say a final goodbye to her husband. In fact, the mortal remains are just kept here. The family members, both the sons are here along with Rohit Pawar and other family members of the Pawar clan. And while this is going on, there are only 2 women, those who are up there. One is, of course, Sunitra Pawar, and the other one is Supriya Sule. Both of them still there, and they are, all the family members at this moment are going in a circle, paying their last respects to Ajit Pawar towards his speech. You can see that, they are Supriya Sule breaking down a very, very difficult moment for the family. She's now escorting Sunitra Pawar off the platform. Sharad Pawar, 83-year-old, he's sitting there with his wife and also the other dignitaries. Amit Shah, the Home Minister, Chief Minister, is also there. Devendra Fadnavis, along with Nitin Nabeen and the Deputy Chief Minister, Eknath Shinde, other members of the cabinet, leaders from the NCP, Prithviraj Chavan, and other leaders of the Congress party. The local leadership of the Congress party is here, of course. Nobody from the central leadership, but at this moment, those things, the focus, of course, is on this platform where Baramati, the Pawar clan, is all set to pay their last respects, final goodbye to Ajit Pawar. The family members at this moment, putting their, one blog at a time, and some more family members, women of the family, coming up to pay their last respects. Extremely, that's Supriya Sule's mother, if I'm not mistaken. She's one who has also come up, aunt to Ajit Pawar, and I can see a lot of people breaking down at this moment, and understandably so. This is such a heavy burden to carry, such a heavy moment for any family member to lose. And this was a very tight-knit clan, despite the political differences that never creeped in as far as the family, relations are concerned. And I can see one by one all these ladies, those who have come up, paying their last respects to Ajit Pawar. It will be just a short while from now when the Mukhagni will take place, and just a few moments back, there was so many slogans, people remembering Ajit Pawar, shouting his name. But at this moment, as the family is up there, as a mark of respect, there is absolute silence in this huge ground where this entire, final rites are taking place. Not a word that I can hear from the people. A lot of grief.
If you see these images, the fact that it's just been a year and a half in the 2024 Lok Sabha elections that Sunitra Pawar and Supriya Sule went head to head. They were fighting each other in Baramati, and today if there is one person who is at Sunitra Pawar's shoulder right since yesterday when those first pictures came in of the family meeting with an old-time family friend and, completely inconsolable to even today in what perhaps will be the most difficult time in the life of Sunitra Pawar, who is there at her side. It is still Supriya Sule. It speaks volumes that you may be political opponents, but I think there is one family
this is
here.
also very rare, Padmaja.
Very rare. You know, you've had families split right down the middle and who, you know, don't see eye to eye anymore. For the longest time, remember, it was 20 years that the Thackeray brothers, leave alone speak to each other, were taking pot shots at each other, were poaching each other's people, you know, walking away with their leaders. There are videos of Raj Thackeray saying the most acerbic things about Uddhav Thackeray, about how he's not a politician, he is incapable of being a leader, he's incapable.
Coming together perhaps of political survival.
Exactly. But here is a family which is still on opposite ends of the political spectrum. Yes. They are still part of two different political formations in Maharashtra. One is a part of Mahayuti, the other part of Agadi. One is in government, the other is in opposition. But at a time like this, you've got literally two people who fought an election against each other. On the one hand, like Smriti Kopikar was saying, on the one hand, you've got this deep, deep distrust where somebody is saying that maybe Ajit Pawar was bumped off because he was becoming inconvenient for the ruling party. That is the kind of distrust you see. And on the other hand, you have a family giving an example of what it means to stick together, to really put your family first. Politics and power will come and go. And because you mentioned the other four families who have also been bereaved, I think it's very important at this time to remind our viewers of their names, because these were also people who passed away yesterday along with Ajit Pawar, while all the focus, all the spotlight is on Ajit Pawar, his family, the loss to his family. It's equally important to remember that Vidip Jadhav, who was a member of the Maharashtra Police, who was the personal security advisor, extremely young son who performed his last rites yesterday. Vidip Jadhav was the personal security officer. Captain Sumit Kapoor, very, very experienced pilot, has several thousand kilometers of flying experience. His father was in the Air Force. He's a retired Air Force officer. He rushed to Pune yesterday after he got to know of the news. He is also survived by two children and his wife. Captain Shambhavi Pathak, only 25 years old, a young pilot. Both these pilots, Captain Sumit Kapoor, Captain Shambhavi, both of them were Delhi-based. Captain Shambhavi literally was starting out, Captain Shambhavi Pathak, and of course Pinky Mali, flight attendant, whose family got to know from TV. That's how they got to know that she had passed away, because they realized that she was on the same flight. She had a last conversation with her father and said, "Main baad mein baat karungi," and that's when he realized that she was on the same flight that had crashed in Baramati. Extreme heartbreak for all of these families. Young lives snuffed out in the case of Pinky Mali, in the case of Shambhavi Pathak, people who were only beginner, in the case of Captain Sumit, somebody who had years and years of experience and now is at the center of an investigation to figure out what went wrong.
Talking about Shambhavi as well, Padmaja, there was a message that she had sent to her grandmother. And it was out of the blue that the grandmother got that message. It wasn't something that she was expecting. It said, "Hi, good morning, Dada." And then that was the last message that she ever received from her granddaughter. So the tragedy is not only what you see on your screens right now, it's in 4 other households as well.
There's that much a human tragedy. You know, we look at the politics of it, what it means for the political future of a government, of a party. But for these families, none of that matters. Their world has changed forever. It has been left with a gaping hole, which is not going to be filled anytime soon, except perhaps when they actually get a semblance of the truth of what happened, what went wrong, what led to this crash. Let's also bring in our guests who are still with us, Sudhir Suryavanshi and Smriti Kopikar. You know, this image, I think, is going to be haunting of Sharad Pawar just sitting there. Months ago, Sudhir Suryavanshi, he celebrated his 85th birthday where the entire family got together. There were multiple celebrations that happened stretching from Maharashtra to Delhi. What would Sharad Pawar be thinking today?
Very tough, you know, at this age to see his nephew, you know, passing away at almost young age, you know, in front of him at 66-year-old. And it is very also tough, if you remember, Ajit Pawar was treated like their son, because Ajit Pawar, father Anantrao Pawar passed very early. So in the absence of father, Sharad Pawar took ownership and the responsibility of the grooming and his education as well. So it was like a father and the son relationship, even though they were not biological father. But Sharad Pawar treated him like his son, and Supriya Sude shared many anecdotes about the Ajit Pawar. They ate the food in one plate. They always, enjoyed their bonding. So it's very hard, wrenching to see this kind of image. As you correctly said, a year back, Supriya Sule and Sunitra Pawar fought against each other. But today, Supriya Pawar is with Sunitra Pawar in the time of grief. I think this is a big message to all families. Like we say, blood is thicker than the water, and the Pawar family understand the bonding, among them, and they have all come together. And they always used to come together on the occasion of Diwali and the big festival in Baramati. But now, in the time of grief, also they are, assembled and they are come together. An important point I just want to make, as Smriti has, touched upon, the trust deficit. The way Sanjay Raut and other leaders had raised the suspicion about Ajit Pawar, the plane crash. Same thing was happened when the Gopinath Munde was passed away in Delhi in the car accident. That time also many theories were floated. Why Mr. Munde, he was about to be Chief Minister of Maharashtra, and he was, died in the car accident. That time also many theories were floated.
So whenever you mentioned that, sir, because actually Sanjay Raut yesterday made reference to that. He said that Gopinath Munde passed away suddenly after the Modi government was formed. Was there any inquiry into that? Why isn't the report being made public? How could a car accident take place? And I remember, I think it was early in 2014, by the end of 2014 or early 2015, when he was headed to the airport, and early morning he was supposed to take a flight, and suddenly there was an intersection where a car crash happened and Gopinath Munde suddenly passed away. And you're right, that is exactly the accident, Sudhir Suryavanshi, that is being referenced now by Sanjay Raut.
Yes, Padmaja, when this kind of, major accident happen, there are, these accidents create the suspect. If you talk with the normal people also, they also, speak with suspicion. Vilasav Deshmukh passed away, but he passed away due to medical and health reason. That time, no conspiracy theory was floated. But in the case of Ajit Pawar, in the case of, Gopinath Munde, in case of many big leaders in Delhi also, we have seen such kind of conspiracy theories are, floated.
Theories can also be floated about a host of other people, most notably why Rajshekhar Reddy. The fact that, we had him such a rising star in that time and undivided Andhra Pradesh, and then his sudden passing away in a similar crash, and the fact that eventually, the power was taken away from his son. So, if conspiracy theories are to be floated, it will equally apply to YSR as well.
No, absolutely. It suits to the many people, and the investigation doesn't come out, as early as possible. So that gives more, place or more. It's add more, oil in the fire. So I think that it does happen, but I think it is a responsibility of the people who are responsible for everything. There has to be clarity. There has to be, impartial inquiry. There has to be report. Has to be tabled as early as possible, and open, and it make to the public for the access also. Then these things will not happen.
Only going to be the investigation report and at least some semblance of the truth, which is finally going to dispel all of these doubts that have been seeded now at this time. And it also must bear mention, and we broke this yesterday, that in 2023, when a similar accident had taken place in Mumbai involving the same company, involving a similar aircraft, an interim report came out. We're still waiting the final report.
Final conclusion there. I want to turn focus to what's happening at the funeral ground there for a moment, Padmaja. We're getting these visuals, of course, of the wife, Sunitra Pawar, as well, bowing before the mortal remains of her husband. The son's doing the same. I want to go to Smriti for a moment here. Smriti, the future of the family, the future of the lady on our screens, Sunitra Pawar. Smriti, can you hear me?
Unmute,
Yes.
please.
At this point, it's difficult to zero in on a definitive answer to what happens to Ajit Pawar's nuclear family within the larger Pawar clan. But a couple of things. One is Sunetra Pawar has a political career of her own. She has a seat in the parliament, and I assume she is going to carry her responsibilities forward there. Parth Pawar, Jay Pawar has not shown that much interest, but Parth Pawar, if you remember, contested elections. It didn't come off very well for him. And one of the things that possibly was on top of Ajit Dada's task list was to groom his children or his son much better for a political career. Now, the question is, will other people in the Pawar clan, maybe Supriya or Mr. Sharad Pawar, take on that mantle and groom them if they indeed are interested in political careers or not? And so the picture doesn't look very clear or definitive at this point for Ajit Pawar's nuclear family, except for Sunetra Pawar, who will have a seat in Delhi. But that again comes back to the crucial question, which I think you've been looking at in various ways in the morning, which is what happens to the two factions of the NCP. If they merge, then of course the roles will have to be redrawn, perhaps.
Home Minister Amit Shah paying his respects to the mortal remains of Ajit Pawar there.
पुष्पचक्र वाहून श्रद्धांजली अर्पण केल्यानंतर बाणवंदना देणार आहेत.
Smriti, let's just also talk about the BJP and what this means for the BJP in Maharashtra while you have Amit Shah there on the screen.
BJP has lost its most grounded ally, an alliance leader with the largest kind of a public and personal connect across the state. Mr. Fadnavis has that in certain pockets. Mr. Eknath Shinde has it in certain pockets, primarily Thane and other urban areas. But Ajit Pawar's command went across rural and urban, and it went far beyond Western Maharashtra. Of course, the NCP does not have a presence in Mumbai and the Mumbai suburbs or the larger Mumbai city. But that is really an exception. If you leave this, then their expands, their command over Maharashtra is there, even though the seats may not always show it. And we have this habit of measuring influence and command in terms of seats won or seats, offices won. The NCP really goes beyond that. The influence and command that they have in their territory goes well beyond the numbers of seats that you see in Lok Sabha or the Maharashtra Assembly or in the recently concluded municipal corporation elections. And that influence, that command, came in large part due to Ajit Pawar's hard work, but also strategic alliances, the ability to cross boundaries when he needed to cross, the ability to keep within the boundary when he wanted to do that. And so the BJP, between Mr. Eknath Shinde and Mr. Ajit Pawar, my reckoning is that the BJP in Maharashtra trusted Mr. Ajit Pawar more as an alliance partner. He was a more reliable partner with a larger command of the ground situation. And so this does change equations for the BJP as well. Also, and I want to leave this here, is because Mr. Ajit Pawar in the NCP, his NCP or the NCP, did not really create a very clear second in command.
Yes.
It could be any of the others that are there in the cabinet right now. It could be in the party. It could be someone else altogether. Will the party listen to Sunetra Pawar? I don't know. I'm not so sure she even wants to take on that mantle. So who is the BJP now going to talk to conference with, to confabulate with, is still not very clear.
Who is going to be the points
Portfolio-
person, as it were? Because Ajit Pawar, it was absolutely clear the power was vested in him. He was the single point of contact, and even among the two deputies for the Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis, at least between Ajit Pawar and Eknath Shinde, Ajit Pawar was pretty clear what he wanted to do, what he was getting out of the government, what was expected of him. There wasn't too much push and pull. Eknath Shinde still, there were so many reports, Vedika, of how wasn't entirely satisfied with the kind of funds that his ministers were getting, what was being given to him in terms of, in fact, there were even complaints that he wasn't entirely happy with the kind of funds that were disbursed by Ajit Pawar, that he had issues with the working of Ajit Pawar himself. So there was a lot of rumblings on one side, but Ajit Pawar that way, even when it came to the swearing in, there was an extremely viral video where he said, I don't know about Eknath Shinde, but I'm going to take oath tomorrow as Deputy Chief Minister. That was him. The single point of contact, absolutely clear what he wanted out of this arrangement that he had with the BJP. That changes now.
But
Who
a
is
lot of
going to be
people,
that
a lot
person?
of parties now need to think, Padmaja, the BJP, of course, Eknath Shinde, what this means for him now with Ajit Pawar, of course, with his demise, a lot of questions reopening there. But Ankit also live with us at this point. Ankit, the final rites still on. We've seen the family on that elevated platform for quite a while. We've seen Amit Shah pay his last respects, followed by the Chief Minister of Maharashtra. Just take us through what's happening on the ground at this moment. Of course, we're seeing thousands of people from Baramati and beyond at that ground paying their last respects during this final journey of Ajit Pawar.
Thank you. You're right. Now the dignitaries are coming up to play floral tributes, lay the wreath in front of the mortal remains of Ajit Pawar. Started with Home Minister Amit Shah, then President Nitin Naveen, followed by the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, and then Chief Minister of Goa. Eknath Shinde then came up along with Rahul Navrekar, the Speaker of the Assembly of Maharashtra. And now, one by one, all the other dignitaries, those who have arrived here, are in fact paying their respect. There is largely the contingent of politicians from Maharashtra, central leaders from Maharashtra, whether it is Mr. Athawale or Mr. Mahal, who is at this moment coming in. All of them, those who are coming and paying their respect. A lot of them arrived here early morning, meeting the sons. You will see on the platform Parth and Jay Pawar, both of them standing, rest of the Pawar clan members sitting, and all these dignitaries, those who are coming in, are in fact meeting the family and paying their last respects. This is the final wreath laying ceremony that is one by one, and I can also see Chhagan Bhujbal who's come up. Nara Lokesh is now being announced. He is the Education Minister, son of Chandrababu Naidu, who has made his way. So a lot of NDA partners have also, in fact, come to pay their respects. And once this is over, the final rites will begin. Here, Chhagan Bhujbal exiting the platform now. Nara Lokesh, I can see coming up at this moment. Sanjay Mushrif, and for Ajit Pawar, when people speak about him, despite aligning with the BJP, and when Yogi Adityanath was campaigning here, it was Ajit Pawar who said these things don't work in Maharashtra. In fact, keep up with the secular image, inclusive image, and Sanjay Mushrif, one of the ministers who came up, from the Muslim community, quite close contact as Ajit Pawar is concerned among the minister there. One of the powerful ministers who are in the cabinet of Maharashtra. So one by one, we
having trouble, with Ankit's line. Again, we'll try and fix this. I think that is Chandrakant Patil. So one by one, all the leaders cutting across party lines are in fact coming and paying their respects. We had Nitin Naveen, Amit Shah, Nitin Gadkari, Pramod Sawant, We had Chhagan Bhujbal. I think I saw him there a while ago. We had
Raj Thakre is there,
Chandrakant Patil. We had Raj Thakre. So one by one, each one of these leaders is coming. We have Murlidhar Mahal, the MOS Civil Aviation, is a member of parliament from Pune. All of them, in fact, have now converged upon Baramati. Excuse me if I get some of these identities wrong because it's really, really far away. But I think the really important picture we see over here is on the left of your screen. I mean, the number of people who have turned up is simply stunning. And a word also for the police, because it's extremely difficult, and I think all of our colleagues on the ground have also been saying this since morning. Very difficult in an emotionally charged atmosphere to control people, to ensure that there is proper order maintained throughout, especially when you have a funeral procession happening. We mentioned about what happened in Thane, Mumbai at the time of Bala Saheb's passing. At that time, it was impossible to control the crowd. People simply weren't ready to listen even to the police. But here you had people who lined up on the sides of the streets. Saurabh Gupta, in fact, was present on both occasions. In Mumbai at that time of Bala Saheb's passing, today here in Baramati. And really, it has to be said, full credit to the people who have been very, very respectful, who have been orderly, and to the people in uniform as well, Saurabh, who have managed this entire morning. In fact, yesterday and today, when lakhs of people converged upon this little village, and yet, thankfully, everything has gone off peacefully. Saurabh.
Absolutely, the police have had a very difficult job on their hands. Very little time to plan, something on this scale. But again, the forces have been rushed in from other parts of the state. In fact, in this area, there I would say there is enough policemen, and that's something that's also important when you have, such huge crowds, when you have people congregating in an emotionally charged atmosphere like the one that is there today. It's important to have policemen on the ground, boots on the ground, and that's something that you see even if this is the entry to the place where the funeral is taking place, and you can see the number of policemen here. This is, of course, the VIP gate from where all the VIPs, including Amit Shah and others, have gone in and come out. And that's the kind of presence. And yes, the crowd has been disciplined. I was speaking to someone a short while earlier, and they said, well, Ajit Dada himself was a very disciplined man. And yes, we have heard those stories, and we've experienced of early riser, getting coming in for interviews early in the morning. And then yesterday he flew in very early in the morning for these meetings. So that's something that obviously we are seeing take place in Maharashtra, and that's something that perhaps he's learned from his uncle Sharad Pawar, who's also someone who's very, very punctual on time. That's another thing that the Pawars are known for, that you cannot turn up to a meeting with the Pawars late, because they will be on time, if not ahead of time.
Is of all the people who have covered Ajit Pawar, who have travelled with him, who have interviewed him, and invariably it includes some story, Sudhir Suryavanshi and Smriti Kopikar, of that 6 a.m. appointment. Reporter after reporter says, I walked in at 6 a.m. thinking I'm going to be the first person interviewing him that day, realizing that I was perhaps the third or the fourth person he was speaking to that day, Smriti Kopikar. That, I think, really stands out. A teetotaler, extremely strict about his regimen, turning up with all the files. Some of the bureaucrats that we have been speaking to, they also speak of how, prim and proper in his kurta pajama, he used to land up with all of his files in order. And usually that regimen used to start as early as 5 to 6 in the morning.
That is one of the, in Maharashtra, there's a word called Bal Kadu. That is when you give something to a child when it's an infant. And I really want to think here that this approach to work, this discipline, the ability to do hard work, to do deep work, was the Bal Kadu that Mr. Sharad Pawar gave to Ajit Pawar at a very, very young age. His tutelage definitely helped. It worked in Ajit Pawar's favor. But consider this, that once he became an MP, in 91, or once he became an MLA after that, the deputy chief minister for the first time, he could have adopted a very different lifestyle. He had everything at his command. And yet there was what I noticed and what I often spoke about in certain circles, once even to him, was that he developed a work ethic that was enviable for any politician. Stay away from all the lures of the office, personal lures. So, teetotaler, very conscious decision. He made jokes about it at public rallies and in private drawing rooms, but he did not touch a drop ever because he knew where it could go. He saw people around him. Number two, wake up early, because you have those hours that the rest of the world ends up sleeping in, and he used those hours so productively. Number three, and to my mind, is something that younger politicians, including his sons, should learn and should give a thought to, which is that he did not tire ever of reading files, of understanding an issue, understanding why somebody gave a speech that said something that he couldn't quite grasp. He would ask questions. He would go into rabbit holes of different kinds, trying to find out, what is it about this? Why should we do it like this? Why can I not do it like that? He often went wrong. Maybe he was very brusque in his, he didn't suffer fools very gladly. So you couldn't spend like 2 hours explaining something to him. But if you could do it in 20 minutes, he was all ears. He was very warm in his personal relationships, extremely warm, extremely full of care for what you were doing, where was your life, so on and so forth. And these are qualities that really stood him in very, very good stead till the end. He had files. He always went with files. And compare that
right now, I can't vouch for its veracity, but a lot of leaders of the NCP are circulating a picture of a plain seat purportedly, which has a torn file next to it. Apparently, from the wreckage yesterday, it's being circulated. One doesn't know, but it's also, like Smriti just mentioned,
Very symbolic.
It's also a legend, right?
Yeah.
Of somebody who was perpetually immersed in his work, was in the middle of his files. So that picture, I think, is also very emotional for the party workers to say, even at his last moment in that plane, he was with his files.